Well, hello, everybody. This is Alfred Sanchez. I'm the president and CEO of the Greater Miami Chamber. Welcome to our August virtual trustee luncheon. This was supposed to be our first in-person large-scale event. Unfortunately, with the changes in the COVID numbers due to the Delta variant, we had to modify our plans. I think that's probably how life is going to be for a while, sort of on and off. So I really appreciate everybody switching to the virtual world with us today for a really exciting program. We have been reading all summer long, and we're actually since early spring about the new tech companies, new fintech companies that are coming to Miami in a very exciting time. So today we are talking to two of the heavyweights with our publisher, our president and publisher of the Miami Herald and Nuevo Herald, Nancy Meyer, who's going to moderate the discussion with two gentlemen one from FTX, as you all know, the former American airline arena, now FTX arena, and Red 6. If you don't know these companies, look them up. Red 6 is a really fantastic, innovative company, and FTX is a Bitcoin exchange, one of the largest in the world. So look forward to hearing more about it. By the way, speaking of FTX, this is breaking news. I just got this from the mayor's office that in partnership with Miami Heat and FTX Arena, they're hosting a big vaccine raffle. Anyone who gets the shot at FTX this Thursday, that's tomorrow, the 5th, between 11 and 7 p.m., has a chance to win. Wait, listen to this: Heat game tickets, Bad Bunny, Kane Brown, Enrique Iglesias, The Weeknd, Fonseca, and Malama tickets. I mean, it's an incredible raffle. Forget about $1 million raffles. This is the place to go. So make your way to FTX Arena for that if you have not been vaccinated. And let's get this winter over with, right? As you all know, our regular routine is we have everybody on mute so we can really focus on a guided conversation. However, we do want you to utilize the chat. Chamber's about networking, so please drop information, reach out to each other in the chat, and be on the lookout because we'll be dropping necessary information and links all the while in the chat as well. So make sure you keep that open. Now, if you have a question to our panelists, please use the Q&A section because that's really where our staff working behind the scenes is going to be looking for questions to float up to Nancy. Today's session is being recorded, and we'll have that recording on our website later on this afternoon. No portion of the session may be used without GMCC consent. Now, without further ado, let me ask our new chair of the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Rick Beasley, to join me. He's from Career Source, South Florida. We all know him. Rick, congratulations again on your ascension to the chairmanship. I know that we're all anxious and we all support you in the great things that are ahead in your term. So let me turn it over to your very capable hands, my friend.
Good afternoon, Alfred. Thank you so much for the introduction. You are my partner in crime, and so I appreciate it. Looking forward to our work. So as we begin, welcome everyone to the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce August Trustee Luncheon, our virtual lunch business meeting, and really my first official meeting as the chair. Now, August usually is the end of summer vacations. The kids are beginning to go back to school. And let me say this, I hope that each and every one of you all have had the opportunity to get some rest, get a break from the work routine. As you know, it's important to re-energize, reinvigorate physically, mentally, and spiritually. And so, as we begin to look ahead to the fall, we're facing uncertain times with what the CDC warns us about in terms of this of new COVID-19 variants that are causing huge increases in hospitalization across the country and across this county. And Miami-Dade County is once again a hotbed for infections in hospitals, and the hospitals are filling up, fast. I said it earlier at our board of directors meeting, and again, some of you all know and most may not, but I have an identical twin, looks just like me. He's not as good looking as me, but he looks like me. But, and I say that jokingly, however, he is a critical care physician. And those who have spoken with me know he handles specifically COVID patients in ICU. And so his shout out that I've spoken with him, his shout out is this: if you have not received the vaccine, get vaccinated. If you choose not to, all of us, regardless if you're vaccinated or not, please wear your mask every day. And so that is my public service announcement, but that's coming from Dr. Rod Beasley, supported by Rick Beasley, his brother. And so, while we hope things will start to normalize, we are now bracing with higher infection rates, hospitalizations, and unfortunately, deaths. And so with all these things going on, we as a chamber have been keeping our eye on those numbers and making real-time decisions about our meetings and our events. And after consulting with health experts, we've made the decision as we look forward to September that our September trustee luncheon would also be virtual. I know you're disappointed as well as we are. However, we need to be responsible. We need to ensure that we're protecting each other, but more importantly, our community. You should check with the Chamber's website on a regular basis for any program changes that we may have going on. And so with all that being said, now let's begin today's program. I'd like to start off by recognizing our August 2021 Trustee Luncheon sponsors who has helped make the virtual Trustee Luncheon program possible. Now, we all know this young lady and who she represents, but I'm proud to bring to you our title sponsor, FP&L, who I can say has been a long time supporter of this chamber and a long time supporter of this community. With us today to provide sponsoring remarks on behalf of FP&L is our immediate, fabulous, wonderful past chair and senior director for the Miami-Dade External Affairs Department for FP&L, our very own Miss Irene White. I turn it over to you, Irene.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Rick, for that beautiful introduction, my friend. And I echo what Alfred said. We're here to obviously support you and champion all the different work that you're going to be doing on behalf of the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce. But today, my pleasure to be here with you today as a Trustee Luncheon sponsor, Florida Power and Light. I know this promises to be a very vibrant discussion on the importance and benefits of moving technology companies into Miami. Our CEO always likes to say that, we're really a technology company that happens to deliver power. And let me tell you, that couldn't be more true. And it's not, it's ever been more true today. We deliver America's best energy value. And we work every day to provide power that's reliable, cost effective, and clean. But let me tell you that this has come about because of innovation and technology. And we're doing a lot to move forward the idea that we need to make Florida and our county a great place and an ecosystem for more entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs that are fueling, right, everything we have going on with technology. I'd like to introduce you, as part of my sponsor remarks here, to 35 Mules. We introduced 35 Mules last year. It's designed to move the state's ecosystem forward and help these early stage companies flourish. And so here's the motivation. We are accepting right now applications. We are looking for passionate entrepreneurs with big ideas in the energy, water, and energy adjacent industries. Startups will receive $100,000 cash grant. They will receive access to subject matter experts. They will receive Fortune 200 executive coaching, a tailored business curriculum, and rent-free workspace. So applications are being accepted now through August 23rd. So if you're an entrepreneur or you know someone who's an entrepreneur wanting to take their business to the next level, please apply today at 35mules.com. With that, let me leave you with a video, if you could. My lovely assistants there in the backgrounds, cue the video, and this is going to whet your appetite to be a part of 35 Mules. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great luncheon.
In 1925, a very unlikely patchwork of enterprises combined to form NextEra Energy, including an ice plant, a sponge fishing boat, and 35 Mules.
FPL is not your traditional utility. We're a technology company that delivers power. We're a company that's been voted one of the most innovative companies in the world several times. We're right here in the FPDC, where we run the largest fleet of renewable energy facilities in the world. So when you're here, you'll be immersed by experts in a wide variety of fields that can help you learn and help you grow your business, while we also help to learn from you and to understand some of the new thinking that's going on out there and some of the new technology.
If you are an entrepreneur with a great idea and are serious about growing it into a business, apply to join us here at 35 Mules.
Irene, I want to say thank you. First of all, thank you for your service and commitment to the chamber. But more importantly, thank you for your service and commitment to this community. I also want to thank Florida Power and Light for your commitment to this community. But to see what you just announced, 35 Mules, I'm excited about what you all, FPL, is doing to help build our entrepreneurship community, but more importantly, our business community, and how it will help grow Miami-Dade County. So again, thank you. Not only does your company help keep the lights on, we could not do it, the chamber could not do it without you all's valuable support. So thank you so much for what you all do. Now, next, please, let me welcome to the webinar stage the moderator for today's panel discussion on high technology, Ms. Nancy Meyer, who is the president of the Miami Herald and Nuevo Herald. Now, you all know Nancy is no stranger to South Florida. And right before this, Nancy was the publisher of the Sun Sentinel for many years. And Nancy, I know you're a big supporter of the chambers and a number of chambers of South Florida. We're happy to welcome you to the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce. And we look forward to building a better and stronger relationship with you. So I turn it over to you.
Rick, thank you very much. And everybody, I'm having problems starting my video. If someone could help me on the other side, that would be great. There we go. And folks, I'm still not getting video. Well,
And we saw you a second there.
I know, and for some reason it's not going on, and it's saying cannot start. So let's do this. I'm going to do some double duty here. So I'm going to come in from my phone in just a moment, but I'm going to start this let's see. Everyone, I am starting, but it says cannot start. It says failed to start the video camera. Please select another video camera in settings. So let me see what I can do. But Alfred, I'm going to get started. You'll see me in just a moment, everybody, but I'm going to start some conversation first, and then we'll move on. I want to welcome our panelists. I want to thank you for being letting me moderate today. So hopefully you'll be able to see my face in just a moment. One of the things I read recently, Rick, as we talked about starting events, either in person or not, I read something recently that we need to be prepared to be hybrid for quite a bit as we look at events moving forward. I know we are preparing that at the Miami Herald. And as we look at our events moving forward, probably need to look to do double duty as well. So let me introduce our speakers today. First, we have Avi Dabir. Avi comes from us. He's a creative problem solver, and he is currently Vice President of Business Development at FTX.US, a cryptocurrency exchange. And I'm interested in hearing Avi because the fact is, we want to certainly know about cryptocurrency. Avi recently led the FTX Arena naming rights partnership, working closely with Miami-Dade County and the Miami Heat. His goal is to help FTX become the future of finance. He previously held roles at Blockfolio, acquired by FTX, the NBA, NBC Universal, and M-Cube, acquired by VeriSign. He's also an angel investor with key investments in esports, gaming, and crypto. Avi grew up in Syracuse, New York, and attended Boston University. And when you see Avi on screen, you'll see boxes in the background. He just relocated to Miami. So Avi, welcome. In addition, we have Maissan Almaskati, who is the Chief Financial Officer of Red 6, with overall responsibility for its finance function, capital raising, and corporate development. Previously, Maissan was a co-founder and managing partner of Trustee Strategic Advisors, an investment firm that bridged GCC investors into the US. He also served as CEO of FinTech Consortium's US activities. Maissan holds an MBA from Georgetown University out of Washington, D.C., and a bachelor's in economics and political science from the University of Warwick, United Kingdom. So Avi and Maissan, I welcome you. While I try to get my camera back on, Avi, I'm going to ask that you speak briefly about your company, what you do, and then we'll move that on to Maissan. So folks, give me a moment on my tech side, but Avi, if you could take over, that would be fabulous. Thank you.
Sure thing. Thanks to everyone for having me here. I appreciate the wonderful intro. Is very kind. Excited to be here. Excited to be in Miami. As you can see, I'm a recent resident. So just a little bit about FTX and my role. So I'm the Vice President of Business Development at FTX. FTX really has two entities, FTX US and FTX. One is primarily focused on the US and the other is on the international side of the business. People come to our platform to buy and sell and trade cryptocurrencies. So whether that's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Dogecoin, I mean, you can, if you can think of it, we probably have it on our platform. The types of customers that use FTX, there's really two. There's retail customers who are just everyday folks that want to buy some cryptocurrency easily through a mobile app. They can do that on the FTX app that's available on iOS and Android. Additionally, we have a professional platform that's very much targeted to institutional investors. So think about banks, hedge funds, professional traders. They're using sort of those professional tools to sort of trade high volumes, and that's sort of their professional job. We do anywhere from $5 to $20 billion a day in cryptocurrency volume. That represents about 5 to 10% of the total cryptocurrency market. And so that puts us at about being the third or fourth largest cryptocurrency exchange in the world, but number one in terms of American-owned exchanges. We have a very strong focus right now on growing our US business, and some of the things that we're doing to sort of grow our audience and our presence here are unique partnerships like, the FTX Arena. We are also the official cryptocurrency partner of Major League Baseball. We recently signed and onboarded Tom Brady, Giselle, and Trevor Lawrence as brand ambassadors for the company. I've done some work in the esports space as well with the team called TSM, and now they're called TSM FTX. But there is a very strong push to grow our US business, as the majority of our revenue is currently coming from the international side of our company. So yeah, I'll stop and pause there and pass it to the next person.
Yeah, Maissan, why don't you do the same with your company?
Sure. Hello, everyone. Great to be here. And again, looking forward to our move to Miami. Thank you for inviting us and giving us the time to speak. So a little bit about Red 6. Red 6 is a technology company focused on the augmented reality space. And at the core of our mission and what we do is focusing on delivering a tactical and outdoor solution in augmented reality for the US Air Force to begin with. Our proposition is to deliver an alternative to traditional Air Force training methods by using augmented reality to make it safer, cheaper, and more relevant. Safer because a lot of people don't know this, but actually a lot of our servicemen and women unfortunately die in accidents during Air Force training. And the numbers are somewhere around 130 over the last 5 years. And relevant from the point of view that a lot of our adversaries have moved on in terms of their own tech capabilities. And through our own augmented reality, able to project a wearable training solution that is relevant to the needs that those adversaries challenge us with. And then we're using this technology to extend the application outside of what is really the defense world, to also branch into some commercial and consumer markets that are in our plans. But in essence, for the next foreseeable, I would say, year or two, the focus could be on the defense world.
Thanks, gentlemen. So it looks like we're still having some issues with Nancy and her video, so I think she's trying to log back in. So let me see if I can't step into her shoes, or big shoes to fill. I'm no reporter, but listen. These are great backgrounds. Two very different companies that are coming here to Miami, and I think the first obvious question is, why Miami? I mean, you all, I'm sure, looked around the entire world. That you guys can go anywhere. What drew you to our Magic City? Avi, you want to take that one first, and then we'll kick it over to you, Mas.
Sure thing. There's a few things that really attracted us here. I think one, cryptocurrency in the future of sort of finance is really for everyone. And I think a unique thing about Miami is that it has such a strong international presence. It really is a melting pot, and it's global. So that's one sort of key element that really sort of was like, hey, this is a great play for us. I also think there's just like a unique culture, like kind of like a, punch above your sort of weight class type of vibe to Miami. And, we kind of see ourselves very much in that, we're a cryptocurrency people, we're still a little cryptocurrency exchange. People still don't know too much about it, but we really believe there's a bit of like a revolutionary angle to it. Certainly we play nice with everyone and everything, but it is kind of the underdog a little bit, and we that culture seems to sort of resonate here in Miami. Another key point has really just been the openness of the local governments. I had to work pretty hand in hand with Miami-Dade County in doing the naming rights partnership. We got to really know a lot of the folks over there, and just how supportive and open that they've been about technology and business, and especially crypto. You know, you could arguably say Miami's probably one of the best places to be a cryptocurrency company.
Don't tell me I'm on mute. That's great, Avi. Thank you for that. Maissan, will tell us a minute. And Nancy, I took the first question, and I'll turn it over to you after that in terms of what attracted him here to Miami. And Maissan, why don't you take that answer, and then I'll leave it back to you, Nancy.
Alfred, thank you. And oh, go ahead, Maissan.
Sure. I was going to say I would agree with a lot of what Avi said. I think, you know, we spent over 6 months studying where we want to go next, or where we want to move our business. We started off as a company in California, in Southern California, just outside of LA, and we were looking for a number of things that would address the needs of the business as we think about where we want to go in the future. And of course, a big part of it was to do with a lot of things you read about in terms of business policies, tax policies, and the usual kind of considerations. But I would say beyond that, it mattered a lot for us to be firstly in Florida. And then the question became, where in Florida? Florida was important because of the significance the state has in both the political and defense world. And so that weight mattered a lot to us as a place for building our business. And then as we started to think about where do we want to put our tech hub, where we want to put our corporate headquarters, not to say that there weren't some very compelling alternatives, but at the end of the day, Miami, for a lot of the reasons Avi just articulated, was pretty convincing. And I would say the level of engagement, support, and involvement that we got from everyone that we spoke to in the city, including the Mayor Suarez and his office and his team, the business community, all that put together, I think helped us really make that decision. I would also say that, of course, there is a big quality of life proposition that Miami offers that others don't. And when you're talking about a team that needs to relocate from California to Florida, Miami is a very strong proposition. And then within that comes everything from, you know, how you think about people's lives, whether it's their jobs, their education, or their kids' education, where they live, how they live, and how they find leisure and entertainment and services and things like that. So all that was part of the calculation beyond the usual, let's call it, business policies and what have you.
Maissan and Avi, thank you very much. Alfred, thank you. This is a good team when you can pick up and someone can take on. I'm on my phone right now. I'm going to try to get back on my computer, so bear with me. But why don't we take one of the next questions? What is the vision and plan for integration into the community? While we've looked at, you know, and seen many of the headlines, Mayor Suarez says, you know, this is a momentum. This is not a moment in time. So we in Miami and South Florida certainly want to be able to keep these companies here, help you grow, and at the same integrate ourselves into your company and companies. So how do you see the vision of that with your companies coming to Miami? So Avi, I'll start with you.
Sure thing. Great question. Giving back is a huge part of not just FTX, but our CEO, Sam Bankman-Fried. He believes in something called effective altruism, which is basically donating most of his wealth to the world's most effective charities, right? It's about how can you sort of make the biggest impact. And we actually have a foundation called FTX Foundation that we do this through, as well as a whole suite of our employees kind of do it on their own. So this kind of comes from the top down, this idea of giving back. And one thing that's been really important to us is, we're now a member of this community, not just in myself moving down here, but then also setting up an office, growing the team here in Miami, and also through FTX Arena and the relationship we have with the county. We want to make sure we're just not here temporarily, that we're here, we're able to identify and work with the local folks here to see what's also important to them and collaborate with them on sort of the charities and community efforts that we do. We certainly have our ideas of how we think we can make the biggest impact through charity and community, but we don't just want to enforce sort of what we believe. It really also is helpful when the community and sort of the county can tell us, hey, this is what we see that needs the most help. Can you guys come along for the ride with us? And we're 100% along for that ride. And we've done some things already. I know sort of gun violence and STEM education and underserved youth has been a priority for the county, and the gentleman that runs our foundation has been working closely with the folks here to make sure we're able to participate in those elements.
Thank you. And with all those boxes behind you, I don't think you're going anywhere besides settling your own home. So Maissan, if you can elaborate on your company coming in, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, sure. I think to answer your question about how do we get involved with the community, I would refer to Red 6's core product and why it's important, because Red 6's breakthrough solution was the ability to take augmented reality, which has historically existed for many years in an indoor environment and has had somewhat of a use case in an indoor environment, and deploy it and make it work outdoors in the harsh natural environment, whether that's sunlight, whether that's going at very high speeds in aircraft, and all the laws of physics applied to that. And that makes us very unique, because for a small company, we've been able to get to a solution where many larger companies have not. However, at the same time, it has generated a lot of interest from, I would say, academic institutions, a lot of interest from computing students, a lot of communities around the space that want to know more, that want to find ways to get involved. And part of what we've been doing is talking to a lot of the academic institutions and universities around the Miami area to work together, not only on joint research and development and furthering both the technology as well as the use cases, but to try and build an ecosystem around it where a lot of these programs offer students the opportunity to work with Red 6 and to be both a call it source of training, but also for us a pipeline for talent. And for us, that is what we feel is very important for the long term, for us to find a place like Miami where we can do that.
That's excellent. As we look at, beyond workforce development, and we'll certainly come back to that topic because we were seeing some of that in chat. What do you or your company need from the community here to help hire, bring people in, grow talent, and retain talent? I know that's a broad question, and Avi, you've just arrived here. Maissan, you're looking to relocate. But as you looked at Miami, there were certainly some great positives. But as you look to grow and or bring people here, what are some of those things you think we need to consider? So Maissan, I'll start with you.
Sure. I mean, I think for us, what we, I guess what drew us to Miami is part of the answer to that question, which is really looking at how do you better tell the story? How do you better articulate the Miami proposition? I think for us, it was Miami needed, I wouldn't say to be discovered, but in a way we didn't know until we did the work, right? So that story about Miami, it's a great story and needs to come out there. And as we look to move people across the country, as well as hire new members of our team, that for us is something where the clearer that proposition is drawn out, the easier it makes it for us. But once you put that story together, it's pretty easy to sell it. I mean, that's really what we found with Miami.
So it sounds as if, certainly Mayor Suarez's tweet last year certainly brought that sizzle. But it sounds like we also need to, from a community perspective in South Florida, build that marketing, build that story as these companies are looking at Miami to be a contender in that tech space. So that's excellent. Avi, how about you and your company?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think the thing that's, we are a tech company, so anything that help, like from a business perspective, we're looking to grow our company, hire folks. So anything that really sort of, an educational system that can sort of support the type of talent that works at a company like ours. And the talent isn't just purely technology or engineers. We have operations folks, we have project managers, we have business development, we have marketing. We want bright, talented people, especially people that are hungry. Even if you may not have the skill set today, but if you're willing to work hard and learn, those are skills that like a lot of us could just kind of build and grow. So anything that supports that type of development is really helpful for us to grow our business.
That's excellent. This is a more broad question, and many of us have been dealing with this for the last 18 months. While the majority of us were in person, technology companies were really in the lead on remote work. And being able to manage across country or even across the world internationally. And many of us have learned to lead through the crisis and the pandemic remotely. But what do you think the positives are of remote work versus in person, if you will? And then not so much size of your organization, but are you preparing to bring more employees to Miami? So Maissan, I'll start with you. And I think I froze.
Well, obviously the pandemic has sort of forced the experience has been, I'd say, conducive to us bringing a lot of people and hire a lot of talent that wouldn't be considered what work in doing things. So certainly that market of where you has the possibilities, as well as certain functions that can and have operational communications. Even some of our software remotely, I can tell you that even do in different states today, and they do convene, but the pandemic has really made this a reality in terms of having to work through an organization with different functions. There are certainly positives to that. However, there are limits as well, which relate to, for example, we can't hire our engineers to do remote work. We need our engineers on site to work with aircraft and integrate our technology into aircraft and things like that. But overall, it is something that we intend to continue to do. In terms of hiring and growth in Miami, we think we'll initially have up to 30 people in Miami that will take place over the next 12 to 18 months, some of which will be new hires.
Excellent. And Avi, both from a remote work standpoint, certainly, as well as employees coming.
Yeah, great. I'll start with the remote work piece of it first. Our company's, I think, has adapted pretty well to remote work. I can say part of that is because, the company I came from, Blockfolio, was actually acquired during the pandemic and done completely over, video calls and Zoom calls. We didn't even meet some of our, our new team members until well after, 6 months, 8 months. I came. Actually, I think the first time I met our CEO in person was when the Bitcoin conference took place in Miami in June, and along with a lot of our other colleagues. So our team has adapted fairly well to that, but there is a desire to get back into the office, right? For that human connection, for those hallway conversations, especially when you're a startup. Like, just random thoughts, random ideas that you have with someone. Sometimes they're just in like a joking manner, but they tend out to be like really good ideas or something you can explore further. That sort of just spark is lost a little bit when you're purely just fully remote. So our company is very much excited to be back in the office. Additionally, here in the US, we've opened up some offices. We recently opened up a Chicago office. We have an office in the Bay Area, and then now Miami, and we're pretty open about any employee sort of, if you want to spend like 2 months in Miami, you can come down here. We'll have extra desks, what we call hot desks, where you can spend 2, 3, however long you want, because we're so used to just moving around and working remotely. So I'm really excited about that. And I also think that's an easy way to recruit folks to stay here permanently, right? Like if you can come down here and try it out for a month, maybe you just love it and you don't go back. In terms of opening an office, we're actively looking at spaces right now. We plan to have anywhere between 15 and 25 folks here. That could happen really fast because our business grows really quickly, or it could take a little bit longer. But I really believe it's going to happen fairly quickly once people we open the office, people get to experience it and get the excitement for being around your coworkers, and I think it's going to happen more quickly than not.
And Avi, I love the thought of almost hybrid, the ability to be remote should you want to, but the ability to come into the office. So, those 2 or 3 months or a month to see colleagues, it's an interesting concept, sort of that hoteling at its best, if you will, with drop-in desks. As I look at this, we see what happened in Silicon Valley, and you saw companies, come together, build really a community, birds of a feather flock together. What other types of either technology or fintech, what other types of companies do you think we need to be recruiting to help your company grow? And so, Avi, I'll start with you, and then we'll move that to Maissan. Sort of that blockchain, if you will. How do you come together to help that supply chain?
Great question. I think the unique thing about our business is that transferring funds touches any industry. So I guess my answer there is really, we want to welcome anyone and everyone. And it doesn't necessarily need to just be startups. It could be established businesses as well. It could be much larger corporations. I think everyone is, if it was up to me, everyone should be welcome, right? And I think everyone is. And that really helps our business. I want to work not just with startups, but even existing Miami businesses, right? There are plenty of Fortune 500 companies in and around this area. It's exciting for me to be able to talk to them, to meet them, to learn about their business and see, they're probably not too familiar with crypto. And we believe that our products help people move money faster and more effectively. Crypto is beyond just Bitcoin and Ethereum. There are also stable coins that operate in fiat US dollars. So we're helping a lot of companies actually start to do that with the new product we have called FTX Pay. So it essentially will let anyone take payments in crypto or credit cards or debit cards. So expanding sort of the touch points and rails that operate on the blockchain.
That's excellent. Maissan.
Yeah, I think the ability to attract more companies in, let's call it engineering, in company, I guess I think of it from the point of view of our ecosystem, which is industries like software development, optics, optical solutions, as well as communication. So for us, building a cluster around those industries, of course, would help us, but the availability of, I would say, technology peers generally would be beneficial. So I wouldn't necessarily be looking for a specific type of company as much as is there an ecosystem developing around those industries.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to take two questions from the audience right now. And so this one more directed at Avi, but what are the chances that the majority of merchants in Miami accept Bitcoin for everyday transactions or cryptocurrency? Additionally, will you accept crypto at FTX Arena for tickets, merchandise, and concessions?
Yeah, great question. What are the chances? I think the chances are really strong. It's just really a matter of how quickly it happens. I really do believe that digital assets and digital currency, it's not going away. It won't fully just take over or replace sort of the traditional system, and that's not our goal either. It's to play nicely. There's enough for both to sort of operate on. In fact, it grows the pie rather than sort of shrinks it. So I think the chances are very high that merchants do take cryptocurrency. It's just a matter of how quickly that happens. Is that 1 year from now? Is that 3? Is that 5? Is it 10? I wish I knew what that answer was on the exact time scale, but it's TBD. In terms of taking crypto payments for things in the FTX arena, that's definitely our goal from the FTX perspective, and the Heat and the county have been so great to work with, and there is a desire for us to work together to make that happen. Again, it just comes back to sort of the implementation timelines and the technical process of integrating it, and also making sure that the experience is right for the fans. If the fans don't want it, or it takes time, or if it's too clunky, no one's going to succeed from that. I will openly say, having worked in crypto now for 3 years, but that's like kind of a lifetime in this industry, that we do have some work to do in terms of improving the user experience, right? Like how people interact with it, how easily it is to move it, how easily it is to sign up for things. We can always do better in that area.
And so there's another question directed at you, a little bit more, but here you go. Do you see any threat from the crypto tax reporting buried in the current infrastructure bill? And what is the biggest threat to your business today and into the future? I'll start with you, Avi, because it's certainly on the crypto tax. Why don't we start there, and then we'll move on to Maissan for another question.
Great question, and it's certainly a hot topic. I will say I have not read the full infrastructure bill. That thing's very meaty, but I don't think we're not threatened by it. When people are thinking about it and figuring out how to put sort of guidelines and regulation around it, that means they think it's serious, right? Like they're like, hey, there's something here. So we're not worried or scared about any of it. We actually recently just hired the general counsel for our U.S. business. We just hired a gentleman named Ryan Miller, who has a great background in working with regulators. So we embrace it, actually. Like we want to work with the regulators. We want to be in that area where it's very clear what we're doing. Our company takes sort of KYC, which is know your customer, and AML, anti-money laundering regulations very seriously. So yeah, I'm definitely not threatened by it, open to it, and we see it as a sign of greater adoption.
Excellent. And there's another question that I have for you in chat, but I'm going to come back to that and share this screen a little bit, because crypto is certainly exciting. I think for a lot of people still probably needing to be educated as well, pending that target market. And so Maissan, let me ask you this: beyond workforce development programs, what does your company or maybe other technology companies need from Miami leadership, whether it be community, whether we've talked about education, certainly our universities, but even business leadership or partner leadership?
Right, I think it's a good question. I think you have to look at what went wrong in the California experience. where California was obviously the home of technology, and undisputedly, I would say, and focus on that, because you have to, Miami has a great proposition today. I think leadership needs to focus on continuing to make it a great place to live, a great place for people to want to have their families, a great place to work. And that may obviously involve all sorts of policy and tax and all that. And you got to make sure you don't lose sight of those things, because the proof is that even if you've been in a place for decades, business will pick up and go if it makes sense to do that. And I think if leadership in Miami doesn't lose sight of those things, that's what matters to us. We will take care of our business. We just expect our new home to continue to build on the things that brought us here in the first place.
I think you bring up, it's a very broad, Maissan. I think, as leaders in this community, we certainly have, I'll call them task force, but thought leaders around affordable housing, transportation, and certainly others, education and workforce development, those things that are important to a community and to help it grow. And some of the things that we could learn from in Silicon Valley, and what's happened here, and really then hey, the change of where technology can be. And Miami being a key leader in that and paying attention to that. So thank you. So Avi, a question came up. Do you, what makes Miami a good place for crypto?
It's a great question. Part of it is just a big reason, honestly, is Mayor Suarez has been just so open about it, and just trying to integrate crypto where he can. And a lot of other folks, a lot of other crypto companies have sort of flocked down here as well. Those are really the big reasons. And the Florida state taxes certainly help as well. You kind of put all this together, and it seems like very much that Miami and Florida is kind of leading the way, and embracing it much rather than sort of putting up guardrails. And I think that's really helping the community and sort of the local business environment.
That's excellent. So Maissan, any surprises since announcing and or bringing your company to South Florida and the Miami region? And I know you're set to relocate, so I'm sure you're still learning, but any surprises initially?
Well, I think the pleasant surprise has been the amount of outreach we've had. I mean, since people have heard that Red 6 is coming to Miami, I've had contact from all sorts of other businesses, other leaders in the community offering to help, to support, some just very curious about what Red 6 is all about and what we plan to do in the Miami area. So that's been very pleasant to where you still, you're a meaningful, have that level of, that's been very encouraging.
And that's excellent. I'm glad to hear the outreach, not just certainly from, I'll say government leaders, but also the business community at large. So I think we should all applaud ourselves for being so welcoming to our new companies. Avi, how about you?
Sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
It's not a problem. Have there been any surprises or things that you found since, I mean, again, you've just relocated, but since the announcement of your company coming to Miami?
I guess I wouldn't really say I'm surprised by it, but the welcoming has just been fantastic. I mean, I'm excited, more surprised. Because people had told me that, hey, like, people are super welcoming in Florida and in Miami, but this was just like unexpected, right? And it's not just from business folks. It's like people that I see on the street, right? Everyone's just like friendly, has a smile on their face. It just makes sort of everyday life a little bit easier. I think I really appreciate that a lot, and we're on Twitter a lot. Like there's a thing called crypto Twitter. A lot of us are just like kind of on there, and even that community has been very strong. The Miami community on Twitter has been very welcoming for us as well. When we kind of made some announcements, a lot of people just DM'd me or said, hey, like, let me know when you get here. Like people I don't even know who just like DM me and said, hey, let me know when you get here. Let's meet up. You know, happy to help you. A lot of sort of what Maissan was saying as well. It's a very welcoming environment. It makes you, it reinforces that you made the right choice.
That's excellent. That is very good. Let me ask the audience first. So prior to closing, and we've got a few more minutes yet, one of the questions when we met with Maissan and Ave earlier this week was really to our community. What does Miami and South Florida want from the arrival of new companies, and especially technology companies specifically? But again, what does Miami want from the new companies coming in? So if anybody wants to raise their hand or type it in chat or Q&A, please feel free, because I think just as we're talking to them, they also want to be more part of this community and get that kind of outreach and understanding. And so I know it's two individuals from their companies, but from the folks that are joining us today, if you want to elaborate, please feel free on chat or Q&A. That would be fantastic. So we heard some of the new jobs that are being created from Avi and Maissan. Let me talk about the type of workforce. So certainly I'm sure coming to Miami and being a gateway, if you will, to the international world. When we look at diversity and inclusion, and especially when we're looking at technology companies, are there things that your companies are specifically doing to recruit diverse employees, international employees, et cetera? Are there any cool things that we could adopt at our own companies in Miami? And Avi, I'll start with you. And folks, give him a minute if he needs it. That wasn't a prepared question, so that was new.
Sure. So the question was, what are we doing sort of on the diversity inclusion side to recruit and retain employees?
Yes.
So that's a great question. I mean, that's not particularly like my area of expertise, but I can say that we recently did hire someone to focus specifically on that. So I think that's like step one is, it's definitely important to us. We want to hire the best people and make sure that they're happy here and that they feel at home, that they feel comfortable. That is very much a priority. I think us just setting up an office in Miami also sort of helps facilitate that, because naturally this community is diverse, and if we're hiring locally within this community, we're going to get diverse applicants and diverse team members. So I think those are kind of like the first initial steps. We're also a very sort of relatively small company and just have kind of grown pretty quickly. Been around for only 2 years. So we're starting to put a lot of these into practice right now as we grow.
That's excellent. I can tell you when I was working on my master's degree, I wrote a paper, did a presentation on letting your little girls, your daughters play video games. And as silly as that may seem, it was definitely more male oriented, and coming out with more types of video games that little girls preferred playing with, as one way to involve girls in STEM or STEAM when you add the A for art. So that's good to hear. Maissan, we have a question that came from the audience. Miami is a very non-traditional defense community when compared to other places in Florida, like Tampa, Jacksonville, Panama City, etc. Why was Miami a good place for an innovative defense company like Red 6?
Well, I think the answer is that Red 6 is a non-traditional defense company as well, right? So Miami's a non-traditional place for that industry. But what I would say is that the talent that we look for, the talent that we recruit, is actually more akin to the talent that you'd find in a gaming. We look for people with software development expertise on the one hand, and then on the other hand, call it aerospace engineering, mechanical engineering, those kinds of talents. Miami itself is within a state, I would say, that is obviously very important to the defense industry. places that were mentioned are very relevant. They're still within proximity compared to us being in California. And it is also a fact that we are looking at setting up other facilities within Florida, in the Orlando area in particular, to service some of our own customer needs out there. Things like the Air Force's Modeling and Simulation Unit, which resides in that part of the state. And let's not forget, Miami is also home to the Southern Command, which is also a prospective partner for Red 6.
Very good. And I'm just from a chat, I'll just some feedback from our group, Avi and Maissan, to give you a moment. Good paying jobs are what Miami is looking for from new companies. How do these two companies work with the local community and educators to ensure they have workers with the skills needed? So certainly the state of Florida, it's a major initiative as we look at what jobs come to Florida. What are the right types of jobs? How are they paying to sustain really a growing state and to raise the level of income as we look forward? So certainly that is something that the community would be asking of you or other companies coming in. Not sure that I doubt that was a surprise to you, and I'm sure you've heard that from some of the other business leaders. And a question with Art Basel, if you are familiar with oh yes, Avi, go ahead.
I actually just got a quick comment on that question. I think that's super important. What I can say is that I'm having conversations with two local universities. Some are thinking about developing crypto programs, classes. So that's certainly coming. That's one way we're working with the local education system. And in terms of sort of, was great paying jobs. FTX pays above market. We want our employees to feel comfortable. We want them to feel motivated. So we totally understand that, and that is a priority. And that comes from the CEO, like the top down. So yeah, just wanted to make a couple notes on that.
Excellent. Maissan, do you want to comment, or I can move on to the next question? Let me move on. Christine's offered a question. Oh, go ahead, Maissan.
With regards to comments about good flag there. But anyway, what I was saying was, with regards to the jobs, something important to note is with a lot of technology companies, particularly the early stage companies, is a lot of wealth is created for the employees of those companies by being part of that story, by being an early employee in those companies. And that's what you see in Silicon Valley. What's happened is that, yes, you've got a lot of the founder entrepreneurs making a lot of money for themselves over the years, but the story that isn't meant, that these startups tend to have very, I'd say, fair and diverse type of shareholding among employee base, allowing everybody to participate as they go public or as they find liquidity. I think as Miami builds up a cluster of startups and technology startups in particular, that is where it could get interesting for people.
And Maissan, it could be me, but you're cutting out some. So I think I just lost you towards the end. I'm going to move to Avi for a moment. A major community event in the Miami market is Art Basel. So having its home base here in Miami, as we're looking forward to Art Basel returning, can you elaborate on how crypto is gaining momentum in the arts community? And I think you touched on that with the FTX arena, but if there's anything specific in the arts, that would be fantastic. Go ahead.
I love this question, and Art Basel is on our mind. So we will be doing something there. We're just not completely sure what. So if people have ideas, feel free to message me. But yeah, this is super important to us. Like, one area where art and crypto really meet is through NFTs. NFTs, they're a really hot topic right now. It's digital art and ownership and access and how it's verified. Like it's such an interesting, it's at such an interesting point right now. And FTX has an NFT platform. We're actually about to launch something with a particular brand in the next couple days or so. And we've already had deals with a bunch of other IP rights holders to launch NFTs as well. And so they're coming on our platform. So we're really excited about the space. We don't have detailed plans, but there will be something from FTX for Art Basel. And yeah, if you have any ideas, please let us know. We're open.
That's wonderful. I will tell you, as we are
Hello?
to accept cryptocurrency. So we may not be there yet, but it is something we are looking at.
You froze up there, Nancy. I think you may want to repeat what you just said.
Oh, I said, that is good to hear. I said, even within our own organization, as we're reaching out, trying to understand how do we move forward with technology, but NFTs using cryptocurrency for our digital subscriptions has certainly come up as a topic. So I've learned just some today, so I appreciate that. This question for Maissan: how do you plan on cutting through the noise of the defense industry? Maybe Joe, you want to elaborate, but what is that noise? But what are you planning any advertising or promotion or PR to announce your presence here in the 305? The 305 being our area code for those of us who have many different phone exchanges today, but certainly in Miami.
Well, I guess it depends what the question's about, but I would say generally we have been pretty active in announcing our presence. We've already put that out there in terms of a press release, as well as some interviews that our CEO has done. We do intend to also be on Mayor Suarez's Cafecito Talks, which was taking place at the end of August, which our CEO Dan Robinson is doing. And then we're hosting an event probably sometime towards the end of this month as well to celebrate our launch in Miami. I would say in terms of the defense industry generally, when it comes to things like talent or recruitment of talent, we have just hired somebody who will be based in Florida to focus on all our recruitment needs. And that just again emphasizes what we're trying to build here. And then lastly, as far as our, let's say, customers are concerned, I mean, our main customer is the DoD. That already knows what we're doing, where we are, et cetera. So there isn't an advertising audience from that point of view.
Okay, thank you. It seems as if we're coming to, I'd say, someone's asked, will you share the Red 6 launching event by end of month? So we might want to do that, Alfred, through the chamber or even through some follow-up of this conversation. So I want to open it up. Avi, if there are any other questions from the audience, please feel free to go through Q&A or chat. Avi or Maissan, any closing comments that you might have related to coming to Miami, hey, this session, other things you might need from the community? We'll see if there are any others, and then I'll hand this back to Alfred in just a moment. Avi, I'll start with you. Any closing comments?
Just thanks again for having me, and again being so welcoming. I feel honored to just meet and talk to a lot of the folks here, and seeing these questions in the chat and in the Q&A just gets me super excited. It's way better than moving. So it just is, I'm super happy to be here. FTX is super happy to be here. And it's not just me, like it's coming from Sam, our CEO, and 30 team members who were down here in the beginning of June for the crypto conference. It was just such a special time for us, and it touched a lot of people in our company's sort of hearts and what we all work for, and just how exciting and such a great time that we had here, which is, adds to why we want to further establish a presence in this community. So thanks again.
And Avi, thank you. Maissan?
No, I'd reiterate what Avi said. I think it's it's great, and we look forward to being in Miami. I see there was a question regarding jobs at Red 6. I would, as a general comment, just say that if you or anybody you know is interested in what we're doing, we are on the hunt for talent, and we want to build up that cluster of talent in Miami. So please feel free to take a look at the Red 6 website and to direct any that way.
Fantastic. There was a comment in the Q&A that I do believe we answered a little bit earlier, but how many jobs are coming to Miami? And between the two companies, and correct me, but it was approximately between 40 and 50 jobs at start. And that will come over time, but that was answered a little bit if you came in later. So Avi and Maissan, I want to thank you. I will tell you, first of all, being the moderator, my passion, and when Alfred asked me, was certainly understanding the technology companies that are coming in. And I think, we may think one thing, and as we study and learn about both of your companies, as we talked, and Maissan, I'm taking your term cluster, because I think that's perfect. You don't have to bring 500 people in to understand how impactful this is going to be to the Miami community. That cluster impact is extremely valuable. And I think for us to be at the forefront of learning is impactful. It's impactful to our universities. It's impactful to the people who live and work here. And I think the other kinds of companies you will attract. So I want to thank you and apologize for everybody in the beginning. No matter what, these hybrid events and technology are so vital. So anybody who can fix that as we move forward, thank you. Alfred, I am going to hand it back to you. And Maissan and Avi, again, thank you very much. At some point, I look forward to meeting you in person.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, gentlemen. I'm going to turn it over to our chair, Rick Beasley.
Nancy, you did an outstanding job, and you did a fantastic job just pivoting.
Well,
I know you had some issues, but just to hear the conversation. So again, thank you so much for what you're doing for the community. We look forward to your support to the chamber, and then to our esteemed panelists. Gentlemen, I was just excited and enlightened about the discussion, your commitment to the community, why you selected Miami. Talent development that you're looking for, but more importantly, why you've made a commitment to invest in Miami. We're excited, and anything that the chamber can do, please let us know, but we want you engaged, a part of the chamber. So we look forward to having you in the community, but more importantly, we're looking forward to the success that you will bring to this community. So again, thank you for your insights today. As you all saw at the beginning of our event today, of this program, you may have noticed a number of businesses that were listing as celebrating anniversaries with the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce. These companies with July and August anniversary dates, we list them, but there are 5 businesses that are celebrating more than 50 years of chamber membership, and that's exciting. And so huge props to Trustee Platinum members Deloitte, Trustee member Magic City Casino. Both are celebrating 71 years as members of the chamber, followed by Trustee member Schultz and Bowen, LLP, at 70 years. Chairman Circle member Baptist Health at 58 years. Trustee member Wilson Cadillac Company at 54 years. So again, a good shout out to these members, the levels of your sponsorship, but more importantly, celebrating more than 50 years of membership with the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce. We thank you. Happy anniversary, and thank you all to the members, the businesses who are represented on the slides today. There's so many that I can't list them all, but we did a great job of highlighting all the members who are celebrating an anniversary of membership with the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce. Special congratulations to those who are just completing their first year of membership. We hope that you continue to support the chamber. Please let us know how we can help you grow your business, but then let us also work together to grow Miami-Dade County. We hope that you will get even more involved in the future years of this chamber. Let me step aside to also please introduce everyone to our newest trustee level members. I'm gonna go over them real quick. Big chamber welcome and shout out to trustee platinum member, Indelible Business Solutions, represented by Makia Scott. And I hope I pronounced that well. Forgive me if I did not, but Indelible is a national management consulting and advisory firm that helps both public and private sector clients visualize and shape optimization or optimal performance within their organization. It is a growing firm with international focus on developing a diverse and inclusive team of professionals to address the rising challenges of our time. Indelible specializes in emergency management, internal audit services, government and compliance, and other specialized professional services. And so we want to thank Indelible for joining the chamber. We look forward to having you as a trustee member. Also, a new trustee member, which is Amazon Web Services, represented by Maria Saab. Amazon Web Services, or better known as AWS, is the world's most comprehensive and broadly adopted cloud platform, offering over 200 fully featured services from data centers globally. Millions of customers, including the fastest growing startups, largest enterprises, and leading government agencies, are using AWS to lower costs and become more agile, innovative, and more importantly, using the innovative faster service by AWS. And finally, our newest trustee member is the Advocate Program, represented here today by Isabel Perez Marina, Doctor. I'm gonna go back, Dr. Isabel Perez Marina. Advocate Program. The Advocate Program is a not-for-profit organization whose mission is to facilitate social change and enhance public safety through programs serving justice-involved individuals, families in conflict, veterans, and other at-risk population. The program is currently celebrating 50 years of service in the Miami-Dade community. So again, we want to welcome Indelible Business Solutions, Amazon Web Services, AWS, and the Advocate Program. We welcome you to the trusted level. We welcome you and continue to have you involved, a part of the chamber. Folks, again, thank you all for supporting the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce and our virtual trustee, our August Trustee Luncheon. We look forward to seeing you next month at our September Trustee Luncheon. So with that, we are adjourned.